This is Anupama Puranik, and I represent the healthcare practice at Russell Reynolds. And I am joined by Dana Kruger, who is based in Netherlands, and she leads the practice for us globally. Together, we are in conversation with Dr. Kelvin Loh, who is the CEO for IHH Healthcare Berhad, a leading hospital chain that has presence in Southeast Asia, South Asia, Middle East, and Turkey. So, Kelvin, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. Let's start with, what is the road to recovery starting to look like in the absence of things like medical tourism and a regular flow of patients that you were seeing in Singapore and Southeast Asia before? And how is this going to impact your business model for tomorrow?
Thanks, Anu. That's a really important question. COVID-19 is an unprecedented crisis, and most businesses globally clearly will be impacted. IHH is in the acute hospital business, so we are remaining resilient during these times. We continue to see patients, we have a strong balance sheet, and we do expect recovery. There are three types of medical conditions: the urgent, the semi-elective, and elective. During these times, we continue to see the urgent cases. Of course, we do so by implementing the highest standards for safety at our facilities. We have always been prepared for eventuality like this. We have done this before, for example, during the SARS and H1N1 times. But indeed, the semi-elective and elective cases get deferred out. But even so, they come back in turns. The semi-elective cases, particularly, will come back first. An example of a semi-elective case would be a gentleman who has heart vessel blockage, say 70%, and that heart vessel blockage is increasing, and his cardiologist would say, you need to come in now for an angioplasty. So this tends to come back and bounce back quite quickly, say after 1 or 2 months of lockdown. And then there are the elective cases that will also come back, but it just takes a bit more time as patients get used to the new normal. In the long term, we expect the demand for our hospital services to continue to grow strongly because the main drivers, such as the rise of non-communicable diseases and aging populations, are mega trends that remain unchanged. But indeed, there is a new normal. We can expect that even for healthcare in the post-COVID era. To me, there are three trends that will be accelerated. The first is to provide healthcare where possible via digital means. The second is that healthcare consumers will demand greater transparency. And the third is that there's a need for better public-private partnership collaboration. So with regards to providing healthcare more in digital means, we had already started that journey even prior to COVID-19. COVID-19 is acting now as an accelerator because simply there is a need for patients to get information quicker and, if possible, not visit the hospitals. So for instance, in May 2020, we had launched telemedicine services globally. It's not a replacement for our acute hospital care services. It's not a replacement for our bricks and mortar business, because after all, appendectomies still needs to be done in hospitals, heart surgery still needs to be done in hospitals, and so on. But it's important that we stay connected with our patients so we can continue to provide the advice and make care more convenient for them. So whenever information can be provided online, we should obviate the need for patients to come physically to our hospitals. And then this makes it more convenient for our patients, and in fact enables the space in our facilities to be used more for that which patients truly need to come for, such as surgeries. The second trend in the new normal is that there will be a greater need to meet the healthcare consumers' need for greater transparency. Patients too are consumers, and they want to know what outcomes they receive and what price they will pay prior to buying the service. The healthcare industry as a whole has been a laggard at this, but at IHH, we are taking the leadership to change this. For instance, in Singapore, we have used artificial intelligence to make our bill size estimates prior to hospitalization more accurate for each condition and for each patient's situation. Right now, we are able to reach 80% bill estimate accuracy, up from 50% previously. So these patients greater peace of mind, a greater transparency. In the post-COVID era, this demand for transparency of information will be greater than ever before. Thirdly, on public-private collaborations, COVID-19 has demonstrated the importance of public and private sectors coming together to deal with pandemic. For instance, we have worked with the governments in different countries that we serve to support their fight against COVID-19 by taking COVID-19 patients, operating community care facilities, supporting laboratory testing, and so on. The key point is that public-private partnership has shown to be so important in healthcare during these times. And to me, it would be a loss if this were not to continue, but instead we must make use of this to continue such public-private collaborations in the future.
So Kelvin, it's so impressive to hear that you already had the strategic insights and had made the strategic choices to capitalize on these trends to better serve your customers. And as you explained, COVID-19 has really been an accelerator. I would be interested in hearing what sort of leadership challenges you've encountered as you've pivoted to this strategy, and in particular dealing with this acceleration. Can you talk a little bit about either the leadership qualities that you're looking for in people or developing in people to adjust to this new normal?
Thanks, Dana. COVID-19 certainly has created new leadership challenges. The most important overall challenge to me is the ability to continue building trust in these times where we see much higher uncertainty and change with our customers and employees. Even in the pre-COVID world, trust was really the bedrock in healthcare. Why patients would come to seek care with us? Because they believe in the safety, the clinical quality, and appropriateness of care that our hospitals provide. In the post-COVID era, this ability to continue building trust will be ever more important for patients. It will be more important for employees because they want to know that leadership remains able to navigate the uncertain environment and do the right things for our community. Early this year, IHH had launched our new vision to be the world's most trusted healthcare services network. In the post-COVID world, the ability to connect fundamentally with people, with patients, employees, and the community to build trust is more important than ever. It may be a new normal, a new low-touch economy going forward. But for us in healthcare, we will always be high touch or high empathy. So that's the challenge. There are three main adjustments that leaders in healthcare need to make to continue building trust going forward. The first is to lead in a more agile fashion. The second, the need to communicate more than ever. And the third, get feedback quickly. Let me explain those. First, on leading in a more agile fashion. There's a need to keep the overall strategic goals of the organization intact, but yet allow the entire leadership network, in our case, which operate in different geographies, different regulatory environments, to act and respond in a more agile fashion. Now, how would we do this? It means leaning towards a less centralized decision-making model. While we stay true to longer-term objectives, it involves empowering leadership at various levels to respond to short-term issues in their own ways. It means accepting that leaders may have to change their KPIs for the short term while focusing on the long term. It also means allowing quick experimentation so that we can shorten learning cycles. And then for us, as a global healthcare company, we can then spread these lessons quickly across the global network. So that's leading in a more agile fashion. The second important adjustment is the need to communicate honestly, quickly, and frequently more than before. And leadership must find new means to do so in this new low-touch economy, such as through regular short videos, short memos, webinars, since physical presence per se is not likely to suffice. Because in uncertain times, and in times of change, lack of communication will erode trust faster than in stable times. To communicate more, it also requires leaders to confront and be frank with bad news, and then explain them concisely, but precisely, how leadership will overcome each of these challenges. And this will reduce uncertainty, and this will engender trust. So thirdly, getting feedback from employees quickly is really important. In our case, we have a large majority of our workforce have not experienced the impact of a pandemic of such a magnitude. So we are pulling many levers to hear from them to address the issues. One is by using pulse surveys. We have found that there are two categories of employees with different needs in healthcare services. The first group are our staff in corporate or support functions or working remotely. And second, our frontline healthcare staff. We have found that we need to help those in the first category remain engaged and feel good about working from home. For the second category, we have found that there's a need to focus on keeping them safe, making sure that they have all the equipment they have to be safe so that they can continue to care for our patients. So really, again, three main adjustments as we go forward in the new normal: the ability to lead in more agile fashion, communicate more than ever, and get feedback quickly.
Thank you, Kelvin. That's very helpful. So keeping these very three principles in mind, and the whole emphasis on innovation, right? And we spoke about the new normal to start with as well. How are you sort of seeing the different roles within your team and your leadership looking different, keeping that entire innovation agenda in mind? Are you expecting a shift in responsibilities for existing roles? Are you seeing current roles look very different in the new normal? Share a little bit about some of that with us, please.
So as I mentioned earlier, indeed, in the new normal, using digital as a means of delivering healthcare will be more important than before. In our context, it doesn't mean that everything will go digital. That's simply not possible. But it's an opportunity for us to use a digital to connect with our patients much better. In fact, we see the merging of providing healthcare digitally and providing healthcare in the offline space or in our actual facilities as merging into one seamless continuum so that patients can experience and get the care in the most convenient way, but also in the most logical locations. If they can get it at home, we should use digital technologies to deliver it at home. If they need to come to hospitals, we can then advise them too, and they should then come to our hospitals. The leadership challenge in this case for our leaders is the ability to recognize that it is not either a digital service or a bricks and mortar service, but it is both. The leaders will need to recognize that the provision of healthcare will now be an entire continuum that crosses the different possible digital means into the bricks and mortar space. And the job, therefore, is to meld this together or merge this together in the as seamless as possible way for our patients.
Right. And can I just ask you a little bit more on that? So there's obviously one thing, which is your own teams who you are leading and you kind of giving them that guidance and space. But you also have some extremely qualified doctors who are part of this entire network. And they have obviously grown up in a particular way, thinking in a particular way, doing things in a particular way. How are you sort of changing the needle on how they are dealing with their patient communities and the way they impart care?
So doctors too have to be part of this change. Doctors are, of course, a critical component of our healthcare provision. We need to bring them along the journey. In any group of professionals, of course, there's a bell curve.
Yeah.
And we'll have to find ways to diffuse that innovation through that bell curve. We'll find the early adopters, as there always are in any group. And in our group, there are many specialists and doctors are people who do want to try new ways of doing things. So certainly we'll find such groups to adopt new technologies. And we are seeing that as time passes, because of these early adopters, then it quickly spreads on to the rest. COVID-19 has proven to be a time which has accelerated that diffusion of innovation. So we're pretty happy to see that. And again, it doesn't mean that the business gets disrupted to the extent that we are not able to continue our existing business, but the mindset that's needed is, even for the doctors, is to make sure that they can see that the digital world and the physical world is really merging into one so that we can provide the entire continuum of care in as seamless a way as possible.
Kelvin, thank you so much for your insights and your thoughts, and also for your leadership and IHH's leadership in helping bring more innovative care to the world. This has been a great conversation, and Anupama and I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today, and we wish you all the success and look forward to further developments.
Thank you so much.